Lisa Yates and Fiona Ross are back this week with Philly Fit, which is all about strengthening your pelvic floor. Welcome back, girls.
Thank you.
So let's start with, what is the pelvic floor? Now, I know we've done this before, we've done this segment before, but I think it's important to go back.
Absolutely.
And you've brought along your pelvis.
Yeah, like our prop. So what we wanted to do today is talk about the core and the pelvic floor, because a lot of people get confused about what's the core and what is the pelvic floor. So the pelvis is a good base. This is a pelvis and this is where it sits.
So that's your spine?
The spine, yeah. These are those bones that you can feel. That
some of us can feel.
People call hip bones, but they're actually pelvic bones and they sit there. And so the pelvic floor sits at the floor or the base of the pelvis. And that's why it's called the floor, okay, because it's the base of the pelvis. If it wasn't there, there would be a big hole here. And obviously then things like your bladder and your uterus wouldn't have anywhere to sit. So there'd be a big
fall
hole.
Out.
Potentially. So that's the floor, and that makes up part of the core. The core is made up of the floor, and then the lid, if you like, or the top, is the diaphragm, your big breathing muscle that sits under your lungs. And then at the front is your abdominal muscles, and that's what a lot of people think is the core, but it's really part of it. So your abdominal muscles at the front, and then the back is the back muscles. Okay.
And so when you're talking about strengthening your core or being aware of your core, it's not just your front tummy muscles, it's your back as well.
Yeah, because
and your butt, actually, as well, as part of your core.
Okay.
They form, if you look at where they are, so the top, the bottom, the front and the back, they form like a cylinder of stability around the spine and the pelvis, and they give you like a stable base for further movement. If you didn't have a core and you built up nice strong arm and leg muscles without your core, it would be a bit like building a fabulous house on shonky foundations. So it's like the base for all further movement.
Isn't that interesting? So it's so de rigueur at the moment, the pelvic floor and the core. Why is that? Why is it so popular?
I think because a lot of people end up with injuries and problems, and we're starting to realise that, you know, sometimes athletes will have an injury in their shoulder and it keeps recurring, that sort of thing, and often that it comes back down to it that their foundations are quite weak, and that they need to strengthen that foundation for further movement. And I think also some of the symptoms that you can get from having a weak core or pelvic floor can be quite disabling as well.
What are some of those symptoms?
So the things that people have heard about a lot with the pelvic floor is obviously urinary problems like bladder leakage. So when you cough, sneeze, laugh, that sort of thing, having a little bit of leakage there. Or if some women talk about feeling a heaviness or a bulging down below, which can also be one of the reasons, can be because of the pelvic floor muscles being weak. The other things can be problems holding on to wind in the back passage, which is not something we probably want to talk normally about on TV.
Well, no, but I think it's important because that would be very embarrassing.
It's a really common first symptom for women. And when you talk about the core, symptoms could be things like persistent low back pain. So if your tummy muscles are really weak, you've often got really poor posture and poor control. So you could get a chronic or ongoing low back pain. You might have really poor posture and difficulty controlling your posture, which can lead to pain. So the core is really important for that as well.
Let's talk about engaging now the core, and should we start first with how we find our pelvic floor muscle?
Yep, good.
Always fun.
Okay,
on national TV.
So what we're going to do with the pelvic floor, essentially, we'll do a quick thing on the pelvic floor and then we'll put it all together. But the action is imagining like you're trying to squeeze in and up, like you're trying to stop a wee. Okay?
How should you have your legs when you're doing that?
Generally more relaxed, so if you want to sit on a ball, so when you're learning them, sitting down on the couch or on a ball is easier.
All right.
Okay.
So should we all sit on a ball?
Yep, just sit on a ball. Now, I'll just very basically, the action is squeezing in and up, like you're trying to stop a wee. Okay? But you're relaxing your thighs and your bottom.
Oh, so hard to be relaxed while you do it.
So that's the pelvic floor, that's that squeezing and lifting. I'll just move this out of the way. So what we want to go through, though, is a system that helps you to engage your core and your pelvic floor when you're exercising and when you're doing lots of things. And we've used this before, but we like the mnemonic ABS. ABS helps you to remember it, because a lot of people think ABS is the core. So the most important thing to start with, and people think, oh, is posture, why is posture so important? But we know from a lot of research that the core and the pelvic floor engage well when you've got good posture. So good posture means a nice gentle curve in your lower back, and Sarah's been practising because that looks beautiful.
Shall I go like this so they can see it on camera? What's that got to do with A?
With A is alignment. A is for alignment. We had to think of something that sounded, you know, A went better.
So it's like...
A is your alignment or your posture, a gentle curve in your lower back. And if your posture's not good, imagine a piece of string lifting you taller. okay, and that often helps. And then, so the B is for breathing. We need to breathe.
Do you remember last time we went over the breathing, Sarah?
Yes, and I always was holding it.
Yeah. So let's just take a big deep breath in. That's it, and allow your belly to expand. And then as you breathe out, relax the belly. That's it.
Okay.
Let's do that again, and this time, as you breathe out, just gently think about lifting that pelvic floor. Ooh. Good. Let's do that one more time. Breathing in, filling your belly with air. And as you breathe out, gently relaxing the belly and lifting the pelvic floor. So that's consciously you thinking about lifting your pelvic floor.
So should the pelvic floor be lifted all the time or only on the out breath?
When you're engaging it, so when you're learning, it's good to consciously contract the pelvic floor before you start your exercise. So all the exercises we're going to do this week, we want you to think, A, good posture, B, I'm breathing. Relax your breathing to start with, and then from that relaxed state, you squeeze the pelvic floor
up,
gently in and up, which should also contract your tummy. And that's the S, it's subtle. S is for subtle. What we don't want is holding your breath.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because that actually can weaken your pelvic floor and your core. So make sure that you relax, you look at your posture first and relax your breathing, let your tummy go. Okay, and then very gently squeezing in and up. It's like you're flattening your belly button towards your spine as you squeeze that pelvic floor.
Well, I'm going to keep in this state for now. Thank you so much, ladies. We'll look forward to tomorrow when Fiona and Lisa are going to show Brendan how to find his pelvic floor.
Blokes, how is your pelvic floor? Do you even know what it is? Lisa Yates and Fiona Ross are in to tell us how men can look after the core and the floor. Girls, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How important is it for men? Because I know you've talked about women and their pelvic floor, but how important is it for men?
That's a really good question because a lot of the media focuses around women. Women are more likely to have pelvic floor problems, and that is primarily because we give birth and we have children. But what a lot of people don't know is that men even have pelvic floor muscles because it's not talked about so much. Of course they've got a pelvic floor. If you remember the pelvis, is that the pelvic floor muscles sit at the base of the pelvis with men. And the main difference is that instead of 3 openings, in the male pelvic floor, there's obviously only 2. There's your back passage, and then there's where your urine goes and where your other parts come out. And that women are at risk, as I said, because of childbirth, but men are at risk more because of things like prostate cancer, which is actually really common in New Zealand. 1 in 10
very high, the rates
Kiwi
of,
men, which is quite scary. 2,500 people are diagnosed every year, men with prostate cancer, and the treatment for prostate cancer can often result in pelvic floor weakness and bladder control problems. And amazingly, 45% of men over the age of 40 have got some form of bladder control problem. But of course, they don't like to talk about it because it's...
So the rule is nuts to the guts, apparently. That's what...
Brendan, you're onto it.
In real words, isn't it? Really, that's what they need to do. They need to be aware of.
You saved me having to say that. That's
yeah,
good.
I've said it. Right, guys? Nuts to the guts. That's the important thing.
Cool.
So what kind of exercises can men be doing to try and improve that area?
Yeah, definitely if they've got a real issue and that, you know, they have got symptoms like urinary leakage or problems, they probably should go and see a health professional such as a physiotherapist that specialises, or a continence practitioner that specialises in that area, because they'll give you an individual program with certain amounts of exercises and sets. But what we're going to do today is more look at how to engage the core and the pelvic floor and use that in your gym program so that you're helping to protect it, and that you're combining that that nuts to your guts, the lift and the gentle flattening of the tummy in all your exercises. So whether you're pumping iron or whether you're an all black or whatever you're doing, that you're getting that tension there to protect that area.
Strength too, you're getting that core strength as well, which is important when you are doing those lifting exercises anyway.
Yeah.
And Sarah said we had to challenge you today, Brendan, so we've got some nice challenging exercises for your core.
My nuts will be up to my guts, don't worry about it today.
Well, we can't actually... No, that's fine.
Shall we get into it then?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, is this my ball over here?
That is your ball, yeah.
Righto.
Please, can we have some music? So, Brendan,
my favourite song.
Great song. You are actually going to lie over your ball. I'll just come round this way.
Over my balls or ball? The ball.
Your Swiss ball.
Okay.
So your hips are on your Swiss ball and everything else is on your Swiss ball. Let's bring our hands on the floor. So keep your hips on the Swiss ball, keep your shoulders back, and I want you to just literally cross your legs and squeeze your butt. Are we doing it, Brendan?
Yeah, we're doing it.
Okay, let's make sure you are squeezing your butt. We've got little flutter kicks like you are swimming in the pool, so squeeze that butt.
I'm just gonna go now.
Tummy is in.
Come on, squeeze this. He doesn't
I
have
think
much
she
of a
likes
butt,
to
Fiona.
I don't have a butt.
No.
Okay, let's make it a little bit harder, Brendan, because I know that you're finding that really easy. Let's walk slightly forward on the ball. Can you give me a little bit of a press up?
Yeah, no
All the way down to the floor and all the way back up. So the more leg on the ball, the easier it is. So I want you, Brendan, to have your toes on that ball. Toes on the ball.
And what are you doing with your...
I'm pulling my nuts to my guts at the same time.
Good.
Let's come all the way down to the floor and all the way up. How's that press up looking, Brendan?
Not too bad.
Let's have 2 more.
Do you want to take one leg off? I'm only joking.
Well, yes, you can if you want.
Oh, I came
You asked for it, you asked for it. And bring yourself up. Woo. Did we do one leg?
in. Yep.
Good.
I love training with this. I think it's really important.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hold the ball. And I want you to squat right down on one leg.
Ooh.
So squat right down on one leg, and you're going to stay in that squat, Brendan. And you're going to take your other leg and the ball in the opposite direction. And then bring the knee and the ball together.
Am I still squeezing my nuts to my guts?
You are, absolutely.
Don't let them hang free.
Why not? You know I'm joking, New Zealand, okay?
In between the exercises, give them a rest.
How's that quad doing on that?
That's
nice.
my balance more than anything.
You're doing very well. One more.
I'm impressed with your balance, ladies.
And let's change sides. Let's come down on the other leg. So remember, knee.
Oh, sorry.
You can add a little bit of a wiggle, a little bit of a shimmy with the shoulders.
So it's out to the side. Okay, now I'm better. It's because I'm looking out to you.
So remember, opposite. Fantastic. Tummy is in. Sink right down into that leg. Woo. Okay, let's plop that ball on the ground. And this time, you're in a sort of press-up position on the ball.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one. I know this is a good one.
Okay, so let's bring your knee towards the ball. Woohoo! And the other side.
So go back further.
So you should be in a bit of a shoulders above your wrists and your tummy in. That's lovely. And you're supposed to be breathing and sucking everything in. Brendan, how's it going?
He's just not very flexible.
Yeah, that's it.
How's that?
Good.
How's that core? It's a great exercise.
Oh, we've
Lovely.
finished. Oh, I can't believe it, ladies. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure a lot of men got something out of that today.
Cool.
Remember the golden rule. Nuts to the guts, New Zealand. Tomorrow, Fiona and Lisa will be back with core and the floor exercises for athletes.
Lisa Yates and Fiona Ross are back with Philly Fit, which is strengthening your pelvic floor and your core. And today we're going to continue our discussion about athletes. You mentioned in our first session this week that athletes should be doing this. So does that mean the All Blacks should be thinking about their core and their pelvic floors?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
It's really important for athletes. And I think most athletic teams would have either a strength and conditioning coach or someone who works with their core and flexibility. Fiona, for instance, in New Plymouth works with the rugby teams there. She does strength and conditioning with athletes. So, yeah, it is really important because if the outer muscles are strong, and we said this yesterday, it's no good having a really strong outer body if here is weak. You're much more likely to get injured if your core isn't strong because it provides the base for all your other movement.
Would an athlete, a male athlete, ever have the same kind of problem? Well, obviously not the exactly same problems, different physiology.
Yeah.
But is there, you know, do they, even if they haven't, you know, even people haven't had babies, can they still suffer from those kind of injuries?
We spoke to Brendan yesterday, didn't we, about men in weak pelvic floors, so it definitely is a problem.
And what a lot of people still don't realise, I think even people in the fitness industry, is that one of the risk factors to have something wrong with your pelvic floor is being an athlete. So weightlifters,
yes, that's right, because it's
gymnasts,
netball.
netballers, basketballers, people that jump and bound in athletics, that actually is a risk factor for having problems with your pelvic floor. There are a lot of gymnasts that have never had children that have leakage from their bladder because their sport, the constant pounding, places them at risk.
My goodness, that's so interesting. Right, we're going to get into a bit of exercise today. Yeah. So what are we going to do here with these Dynabands?
We're athletes today, Sarah.
Right.
please can we have some music?
Yes, that's right.
Please grab the
Silver
handles.
Ferns, here I come.
Absolutely. If you grab your handles, Lisa, you grab your handles. Okay, so let's just take a little bit of tension on the band, and we're just going to start nice and gently with a little bit of a squat, and when you come up, a little bit of a row. Squeeze the shoulder blades all the way out, a little bit of a squat. Excellent, a little bit of a squeeze into the shoulder blades.
And should we constantly be thinking about our pelvic floors?
Absolutely, and just think about your posture as well, so being nice and tall.
The alignment.
Lovely. We're going to be a little bit tricky, Sarah.
Yes.
We're going to start with the squat, but when we come up, we're going to come onto one leg and row. Woo. And watch me as I fall down. Squat, let's go to the other side. So tummy in. Let's keep it going. And eventually, yes, look at that. Athletes now. Little squeeze into the shoulder blades. Lift yourself up nice and tall.
So I'm doing the baby option. If this looks too hard for you,
don't
lift your leg, just tap it.
Let's just do one more. And then we're going to get really tricky, Sarah. We're going to come onto one leg, and you're going to tip yourself over. So your hands, palms are facing down, your eyes are facing down, and we're going to do that same rowing back with your elbows pulling back. Excellent, and slow it back. And again, tummy in. So still a bit thinking about your core, pelvic floor. Think a little squeeze of your butt, that the leg is extended, your toe is down, your hips are square to the ground, and bring yourself up. Ooh.
Oh, these
feel that one.
Quite advanced core exercises.
They are advanced. Let's try the other leg. Let's try the other leg.
Is this what you do with your rugby players?
Oh, a lot harder than this, Sarah. No, we do lots of one-legged things because it really gets into your balance and your core. Are you squeezing your butt, Sarah?
Yes.
Trying to?
Try not to fall over, mainly.
You're doing very well. And have a rest. Turn side on, and just the handle, we're just going to gently pull the handle across the body and keep the other hand nice and still. Excellent. So think tummy in and nothing else is moving. So keep the knees soft. Think about your alignment. Think about your breathing. I think you're holding your breath, Sarah.
It's hard to think about everything.
I know. And come back to the middle. Let's come back to our squat. Here we go down, double legs, single leg, and pull it back. Whew.
Mine's getting wider and wider. I don't quite know why.
Other leg. Your band's a little bit stretchier than our bands.
Okay.
But that's okay, you're still working just as hard. One more. Lovely. Let's come back to that aeroplane. So remember, tipping over. Tummy in, toe down. Let's gently pull it back. Squeeze into those shoulder blades and all the way back.
If you didn't have a couple of mates,
you could.
What could you do?
That's a great question. Bring yourself up, Sarah, and try the other side. Put it around a door handle.
So get
as
it
long
down
as
a bit.
nobody comes in the door while you're doing your exercise.
Otherwise, you could wear it.
You could. You could do it with your children.
But
they probably start mucking around.
They would. They'd get bored quickly,
Yes.
wouldn't they?
Okay, Sarah, bring yourself up.
It's not boring, it's fun.
I don't find it boring.
Turn yourself on your side again, so tummy in. Remember, don't let
Neutral
anything else
spine.
move. Lovely, and gently bring it back. And again. Nice work. Looks good, last two. So the idea is not to let the hips move, just gently holding the tummy in.
Yeah.
And keep yourself nice and tall. Excellent. Whew. How are you doing?
Good. That's quite hard.
It is quite hard. You're working a little bit into your back as well. Come back to that squat. We're going to do one last trick.
I'm getting wider and wider.
Come back
there
in
we
here.
go.
Oh, there we
Look
go.
at that. That's nice.
We're going to have to leave it there, I think. Or we'll
Are
do
we?
one more of these.
Okay, let's do one more of these.
Okay.
Shoulders, pull them back. Just to finish, Sarah, come up.
Yes.
And bring your knee up. Bring your knee up and do your row now. Woohoo! It's me that's falling over.
That's good. That's a challenge as well.
Yeah, so we're
it's been good
athletes.
exercise. Wonderful. Thank you so much, girls.
Thank you.
I'll give you these back. And Fiona and Lisa's session tomorrow will be pelvic floor exercises for the elderly. How is your core strength shaping up? All week we've been targeting the pelvic floor and our core with Lisa Yates and Fiona Ross from Pelvic. And now we're going to be doing some exercises for seniors. So are you ever too old to strengthen your core and pelvic floor?
That's a really good question, actually, because a lot of people, a lot of patients and people that you meet in the gym think that they're past it, they're too old, that, you know, these areas are gone and that they can't strengthen them. But that's so not true. In fact, I've worked with some 80-year-old women who have strengthened their pelvic floor really well and ridded themselves of their symptoms. So, you know, you're never too old to strengthen muscles, and the pelvic floor muscles and the core muscles are muscles just like in any other part of your body. Obviously, as you get older, it takes a bit more persistence and a bit more effort because we lose our muscle mass as we age. But definitely, you're never too late to strengthen these really important muscles.
Could anyone do these exercises today, though, even if you are under 60?
Absolutely. In some respects, if you go back to all the other exercises we've done through the week, this would be a really good little warm-up to start with. But at the end of the day, it's still a challenge for somebody that's
or if
younger as well.
You just had a baby, or you know that you're
great.
going through the menopause, you know everything's weak, or you're not particularly fit, this would be the perfect place to start.
Well, let's get into it then, shall we?
Excellent.
We're going to use the balls today.
Yeah, we're going to have a little sit on our ball. Sarah, please can I have some music? So if you were a little bit...
I'll go back so I can see you.
If your balance was really not that good and you were feeling a little bit unsteady about being on the ball, you might be holding onto the wall or something, but otherwise, let's just put our fingers on the edge of our ball. Let's sit up nice and tall, so think about that posture and your nice alignment, that nice neutral spine, gently. Think about your breathing, and let's just lift one leg, Sarah, and try not to let the hips move. Smiling.
Remember, if this is too hard, follow me with the basics.
And try the other leg. So you might notice that one side feels a little bit wigglier. Yeah.
My right leg's not as wobbly as my left leg.
So it just relates to your core being a little bit stronger, maybe on one side than the other.
This is hard.
So let's use our arms a little bit as well, Sarah. So let's take your arms away. If you're feeling confident, let's do the same thing without your arms. I think I'm wobbling a lot today.
It's really hard.
Gently change sides.
You can see how it's good for your balance and things?
Yep.
And strength. I can feel it in my core. Oh, I'm useless at it.
Let's do opposite leg arm, Sarah. So extend one leg out and reach up with the opposite arm. So just challenging a little bit more and gently change sides. So keeping that nice tall posture and your breathing.
And of course, the gentle tension in your pelvic floor and core.
Absolutely. How are we doing, Sarah?
Good.
Okay. Let's grab the balls and pop them above your head. So let's think about coming up onto the balls of your feet and lifting up nice and tall. Relax your shoulders, nice and tall, and gently come down onto the whole of your foot and a little bit of a side bend. So just coming from your waist, and again, gently over to the other side. So not too far, and just gently thinking about tummy in. How are you doing? Good. Let's rise up onto our toes.
Just have to keep remembering to breathe.
Yeah, remember to breathe and gently come down onto the feet. A lovely little side bend to one side. Gently tummy in, knees slightly soft, and just coming from your waist. Excellent. Let's hold the ball up nice and tall. Relax the shoulders. We're going to slightly bend forward, and Lisa's going to turn on her side and just show us where you want your back position to be, and gently bring yourself back up. So keep the knees a little bit soft, and think about nice and long through the back. So not too far. Gently think about the tummy in. Really important that you're holding the tummy in. And your pelvic floor, and again, let's do one more. Lovely, lovely. And gently bring yourself up. Let's pop the ball on the ground, Sarah. So the ball is just there, not too wide with your squat, so toes slightly out. Yes. And we're just going to do little squats, but you've got your ball there, just to touch and hold on to. If you feel you need something to hold on to. And if you haven't got a ball at home, you can always do this with a chair. Obviously, you don't want to be holding the chair above your head, but you can still sit on the chair.
And you're sticking your backside out a little bit.
That's right.
I've heard
not going straight down.
So remember that nice neutral spine, that nice little curve in your lower back. Excellent.
And all the way while holding in the core and
absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Lifting of the pelvic floor.
Just two more. Lovely. Last one.
It's so great to hear that it's never too late to...
Absolutely.
To start.
Let's grab that ball again and let's bring it above our head. So remember, rising up onto the balls of your feet. And slowly coming down, little side bend. Gently think tummy in. Beautiful. Hold it in the middle, rising up onto those toes. And gently down, little side bend. Excellent. One more, big rising up. Remember your breathing, Sarah?
Keep holding my
gently
breath.
side.
Keep breathing.
Little rise up. And side bend. Okay, come back down onto the floor with the ball and come and sit back down. See what our balance is like now.
Okay.
See if we're, sometimes when you go back and do it a second time, it feels a little bit easier, yeah.
Okay.
So let's have no arms and let's just gently lift that leg. I think I'm still wobbling, but that's okay. And gently change sides. So remember that nice neutral spine, that nice lift in the chest. That's it, look at that, that's lovely.
We're going to have to leave it there. It's been a great week. Fiona and Lisa, thank you so much for coming on the show this week.
Thank you.
Oh, well done, Sarah. Great effort there. And we have 3 copies of Fiona and Lisa's The Core and the Floor DVD to give away. To win one, just tell us the name of the exercise program for pelvic floor strength. To enter, go to our website and follow the links on our competition area. And you can also find more information on the DVD there.